Hey TechCloud TV viewers, and welcome to our first official panel discussion with Karen Cohen, known as Blockmum for her caring nature of the blockchain community, and one of the women leading the charge in the blockchain community that we had the opportunity to speak with when we first launched our channel back in early 2019. So to provide a bit of insight on emerging technologies within the blockchain community and the future of blockchain and work post-COVID. Today we have with us Karen Cohen, the current Victorian president for Blockchain Australia. So a little bit about her. She has a very strong background in HRM and operations in a blockchain environment, and also runs her own consultancy, Blockconsulting Group, working closely with the startup community in her previous role as GM of the Blockchain Centre, which included running Australia's first Blockchain Incubator. Her illustrious career extends further, as she's also the co-organiser for Women in Blockchain in Melbourne, and also the head of HR for Nem Foundation, and she's currently running the Women in Fintech program at Stone Chalk in Melbourne. So hi Karen, thank you for taking the time out today to speak with us again, and the TechCloud TV team, who are unfortunately not able to join us today, but great to speak with you once again. So I just jumping to the first question. So Karen, I'm sure that everyone is interested to know more about Blockchain Australia and some of the key initiatives that Blockchain Australia and you in particular are undertaking. So are you able to provide us with a little bit of background?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on again. It's been a little while.
Great to have you.
So there's some great stuff happening at Blockchain Australia. We've got a new CEO, Steve Vallis, and he was appointed at the beginning of July. And so his focus has been to reactivate the community and to represent the members, to work as the link between industry and government. And to that point, we have a new national roadmap strategy that's being run by the federal government, and they've just appointed a head of the roadmap, Chloe White, and she's fabulous. She's come from Treasury and Finance, and she's just put out a call for volunteers who want to get involved in the national roadmap, and that closes on the 22nd of July. So check that out if you want to get involved and help to determine the policy. Other things that we're doing at the moment, obviously looking at events and education, trying to bring the community together, as well as we're looking at obviously the diversity of the board. I'm one of two women on the board. The other one is Anya from Power Ledger. So I'm hoping that she'll be able to come on and speak to you, Vanessa, as well. And so, yeah, we'd like to sort of improve the number of women going forward. So we're looking at some initiatives there of how we're going to do that for the next election in November.
It's exciting stuff. So coming back, I guess, to the initial discussion about just you, what is the reason you're so passionate about blockchain?
There's a couple of things. One is, I think, as we've highlighted in this terrible COVID period, that trust is so important, and what would happen in the world if you could trust your data. And I think blockchain provides a really nice solution for trusted data. I heard an example the other day of a doctor who was asked to go and get a COVID test, and then he couldn't get his insurance despite the fact that he was negative. So it sort of makes you think about data and who's going to own your data and how safe is it and where's it going. If I go to my doctor, does it go to my insurer and then I can't get insurance? I want to trust the data that I've got. I want to know it's verified. I want to be able to release it to the right people. And we're seeing so much with this COVID app and this inability to trust the app and ourselves and the data and what's true and what's not. More and more we know that it should have been built on the blockchain, but it was built in a hurry.
Absolutely, that makes sense. So I guess, what are some of the emerging trends, technologies, and use cases that you've had the chance to see at Blockchain Australia, and in particular, the technology industry to date?
I think what's really interesting with COVID, we've seen a few really interesting things. One is trusted food. Food is, because we had so much problems importing food, everyone became very distrustful of where the food was coming from. I'm seeing in my Facebook groups, a lot of people wanting Australian made, Australian owned products and not trusting the labels on when you go to the supermarket. It says it's a product of Australia, but when you look closely, it might be an overseas product. Might have been packed in Australia or the other way around. Might have been a product from Australia, gone overseas, come back. We're seeing a lot of that sort of trust and that provenance of supply chain, and being able to trust where your food is and being able to verify where it's been along the way would be really important. Good use case for blockchain at the moment, and we're seeing that opportunity open up. Secondly, ID, and nobody's solved this yet. Globally, I think we know that there's millions and billions of people who don't have proper ID, can't be banked properly, and so who are we going to trust with our ID and this sort of health data that we're talking about? And that goes further from an HR perspective. I'd like to see us be able to apply for a job and know that our education's been verified, that we have attained the certificates we say we had, our references are verified.
Yeah.
We don't have to keep reading them every 5 minutes. You could have a verified reference check. You can have, all your micro certificates verified as well, first aid, languages, all those sorts of things. Even your psych tests, like when you go for a job, you do a psych test and then you go for another job, you do another psych test. It would be great if you could just do one and, release your results and know that it's trusted, it's verified. So I think that's really important. The other thing we're seeing is resources, so power and water, those sorts of things, being able to track them, being able to trade them with visibility. Those are the important things that we need to see in the blockchain space.
So in the blockchain space, in particular with blockchain startups, what are some of the exciting things that you can share with us in terms of innovation that you've seen?
Yeah, so to the previous point, Power Ledger's doing some great things around trading solar energy, both in Australia, and they're doing partnerships around the world. They've got a catch up tonight, I think, online. And then Civic Ledger's done some work with the Northern Territory, I think, and again, trading water, being able to trade that with visibility, with trust. So those are some really exciting projects in Australia that we're seeing kicking goals, which is good.
That's absolutely exciting. So considering, back to the topic of the current pandemic, which is COVID-19, I guess the biggest hot topic of discussion is around remote working and what that means for us post the pandemic. So what do you kind of see from your perspective as a future of work post-COVID, and whether you think this is going to be a permanent change for most workplaces?
Yeah, so there's a few elements to this. One is when the world opens up, not everyone will want to go back full-time to work. I think we've all become a bit comfortable with not having to catch the bus and the train every day, being more productive at home. We are giving more at home. We know we are giving more hours. If we do stop for an hour for a walk, we tend to give 2 hours back. So it comes down to this element of trust that we've grown from working remotely. And will our employers now start to trust us on tasks rather than hours? And I think we've shown maturity as a globe that we can work from home, but we do have to amend certain things, like we have to have more meetings where we can see each other's faces and see if people are engaged. We can't tell if we can't see them. We do have to check in more often. We do have to give more feedback about how you're going on your tasks, more visibility of project tracking and tasks. And yeah, I think one of the other things is, how much privacy you have. I read an article which I shared on LinkedIn recently about a guy who said, I didn't want people to go into my house and see my house on my camera. And so, this idea of a background, and he was turning his camera off the whole time. Yeah. The other big piece in Australia we're seeing is JobKeeper. It's affecting how we currently employ people. So we might have someone that's better at their job, but isn't on JobKeeper, so we're not using them. Or we're holding on to people who aren't as good because they're on JobKeeper and it's not costing us anything. So I think come September, if they do take away this benefit from us, we're going to see a shake up in the workplaces, and people in HR are going to be very busy with, redundancies and reshaping and reforming these organisations. It's been a very difficult time for employers and for businesses, and I think we've been held up by the JobKeeper a lot.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, thank you so much for the great insights you've shared with us today, Karen. It was really great chatting with you. I was actually very excited to hear about the fact that you're calling for expressions of interest for the national blockchain roadmap. So if there was anything that you could share with us that I'll be able to post with the wider audience to get involved in, or any other initiatives, that'll be good. So that I'll be able to share this at the end of the video with anyone that would like to get more involved in the blockchain community. And it's been great chatting with you today. Hope to catch up again in the next month to get more insights from you about what's going on in the community and what we can do to get involved.
Great. Thanks very much for having me.
Much. So you guys, if you have any burning questions, please drop us a note. And if you anything you want to ask Karen, please also drop us a note. Thank you so much, Karen. It was great chatting with you today.
Thanks.
Thank you.